Nematodes. Dr. Elson and Cabanelas tried to use nematodes. These are parasitic nematodes. These are they're different from plant nematodes. And they use Heterorhabditis vigilis and Steinonema against larval stages. And they found positive results. But again, larvae move, so they move around in nature, in the soil. Again, this is laboratory conditions, so it's really controlled. They were able to get infection in the lab. But when I examined beetles in the field, I did not see any larvae or no pupa at all that were infected with nematodes. This is a natural infection of nematodes in one of my in the sandy soil that I showed you. I collected the beetles from that sandy yard that I was talking about a while ago. And you can see here this elytron is full. This is probably thousands of nematodes. It's really full. I don't know why they were here, because it's just well, it's soft. That's probably why. This is a young beetle, young adult, and you can see bundles of nematodes coming out from the sternites, between sternites, everywhere there. So this is in nature. Anyway, this is a story that I always tell to some beekeepers. There's a beekeeper in Tennessee who bought nematodes online, gardenalive.com, and he treated his colonies. He's a hobby beekeeper. So he's treated his yard with nematodes, and he sent me samples, soil samples, probably 10 bags. And I went through all the samples, examined every larva, every pupa, and every adult. There's no infected one. So I killed the beetles and kept the soil. And after 2 months, I used the soil to raise beetles in the lab, because I need beetles for my experiments. And look, they were pupating so nicely. And when I was expecting them to emerge, they are not emerging. And so I look under the scope. When I saw this one, there's one nematode wiggling. And I said, oh no, they're infected with nematodes, that's why they're not coming out. And I picked this up. This one is sitting on this nematode bundle of nematodes here. So I sent this again to University of Florida, and they said it's Heterorhabditis bacteriophora, which is the same nematode that the beekeeper applied into the soil. So it was persistent. It's still in the soil after 2 months or so. So how do nematodes work, especially this Heterorhabditis bacteriophora? This means that this particular nematode is associated with bacteria. The bacteria is in their gut. So there's a symbiotic relationship between the nematode and the bacteria. When the nematode enter a host through any opening of the beetle, the nematode, as soon as they enter, they release the bacteria that they have in their guts. The bacteria will multiply in the blood, and the beetle will be killed by blood poisoning. That's how it works. But then, as I examine all the beetles in that particular rearing container that I have at the lab, I saw a lot of mites in those beetles too. So what in the world are these mites doing here? Thousands of them. So I sent these mite samples to Oregon State. I have a friend who is an acarologist, and she said they are nematode eating mites. So, and I actually captured one mite eating the nematode, and it's quite. This is. I've checked some soil samples in my yard, and I find this mite in my yard. I found some nematodes too. So if you have something, there's always something else. Is there any questions?
Do we have that nematode in Hawaii?
I have no idea.
The thing is at this meeting right now, we should be addressing the Zima tirana too, because we're starting to see that now. And that's a third whammy with the hive beetle and with the varroa mite.
We did a test. We treated half of our colonies with fumigelin and half did not. They both went down in count. I don't know between, huh?
In beetle count, you mean?
No, Nosema cerani.
It seems to me that, well, Lily, what you mentioned about the Russian stock, that you have a difference between stocks and perhaps a more aggressive bee in terms of removing the beetles. That this really appeals to me, you know, with my genetics background, lack of genetics, but in selection. So if we have Russian bees that show this, do we have any other bees that have been selected for varroa resistance that have shown any sign of an advantage in terms of small hive beetle?
That's the only one so far.
That's the only one so far, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any evidence of any bees that have this chasing behavior for any other insects? In other words, the strain of bee is better at chasing, say, wax moths or anything that they might be able to have that same behavior would then apply for the small hive beetle. Have we got any data on that with any of these many strains now of varroa resistant stocks?
No. We so far only the
Only the Russian.